Hello everybody, welcome from Worldwide Technology Raceway. You see right over here. Christopher DeHarde here from Frontstretch.com, here with your post-race conversation after the NTT IndyCar Series Bommarito Automotive Group 500 over here, right outside of St. Louis. I'm currently in a makeshift classroom thing here, right across from the media center, and it is 12:17 in the morning. So we're going to go through this pretty quickly here because it's really late. Kyle Kirkwood gets his first ever oval win in NTT IndyCar Series competition after 260 laps around the 1.25 mile oval right outside of St. Louis. So we're going to go through the results here real quick and go through different various parts of the race. There were a couple of drivers that gambled on fuel strategy late. Things just didn't quite work out for them. We'll go through some bits and pieces here for you. Kyle Kirkwood obviously winning the race. It was his second win in a row, third win of the season after winning at Long Beach. Pato O'Ward finishing second. He led a little bit after a mid-race restart. Christian Rasmussen finishing third. That was my memory is correct, I believe it is his first podium finish. All three drivers Indy Next champions. Nice job for them in that series. Scott Dixon finishing fourth. Interesting fact about Scott Dixon, he actually had a lap on the field late in the race with a caution for, I believe it was David Malukas' brush with the wall in turn 4. And a lot of us are thinking in the media center, ooh, is this going to be another Scott Dixon strategic masterclass? Well, he finished fourth, so it was a great run for him. Fifth place, Santino Ferrucci. He got a little, elbows out a little bit with Colton Herta. Really interesting seeing all the side-by-side footage with him on the restarts. So Santino fifth, I believe it's his third top 5 finish in a row. Connor Daly in sixth. You can read my sidebar about him on frontstretch.com. Daly was very bullish about his chances all week long. He was really upbeat. He even told us all in the post-qualifying bullpen, I've got a great car, I'm happy with what we have, and it showed. He finished sixth in Sunday night's race. It was his sixth place finish. He told me after, at the end of the interview, I felt like I finished sixth like a million times. Well, eighth. It is sixth place finish. So a great run for Connor. Rinus VeeKay in seventh. Now, this was a very pivotal race for Rinus because his previous 2 races did not go very well for him at Dale Coyne Racing. He had a crash in the Indy 500 going on to pit road, and he was the first car out of the race in Detroit after an engine failure. Or I think it might have been someone said something about an exhaust pipe maybe, but either way, it was a terminal mechanical failure at the end of his day at Detroit. So for him to bounce back and get 7th place, great job for him. 8th place, Alex Palou, your points leader. Palou, he's got 335 points ahead of Pato O'Ward by, I believe, 73 was the difference between first and second, and Kirkwood is third, 2 points behind Pato O'Ward. So Palou, this was a weird race for him. He got delayed quite a bit early on. We'll talk about that in a minute. But for him to come back and get a top 10 finish at Gateway, great job for him. Marcus Armstrong finished 9th. I had a Robert Schwartzman in 10th. Schwartzman, I got a video interview with him on pit road after the race, and he was so excited. And it was a really fun race for him to finish 10th. Great run for the Indy 500 pole sitter, 8500 Rookie of the Year. And yeah, it was a weird race for him to do. It was only his second ever oval race, his first ever short oval race. He did a fantastic job. Alexander Rossi in 11th place, David Malukas in 12th. I want to talk about David for a little bit. David was fastest in the final practice session. He qualified, I believe it was 4th fastest, and I believe he was 3rd fastest in the opening practice session. He had every reason to be happy going into the race, and he led a large part of the first part of the race. He led 67 laps total tonight, but he brushed the wall leading to the final caution. He also got a penalty for improper lane usage on pit road when he went immediately out to the to the fast lane on pit road instead of going through the acceleration lane, because I guess it was how his car was positioned behind another car. I think it was Scott McLaughlin's. His Instagram story after the race was just a plain black background that just says P12 on it. And trying to talk to him after the race, he just did not want to talk at all. I don't blame him. After the car that he had during the weekend, he expected a lot better. And he's going to use Road America as a chance to bounce back. I'm sure of that. Marcus Ericsson 13th. He led a couple of laps late, but unfortunately he had to stop late. He tried to gamble on fuel and it didn't quite work out. Christian Lundgaard in 14th. Now, I mentioned Alex Palou earlier being delayed quite a bit. So Christian Lundgaard, and I did a video with Lundgaard, you can watch it on the Frontstretch Open Wheel YouTube channel. Lundgaard had some flashing lights on his pit stop board that tells him to stop in his pit box. And they didn't have that at all during the weekend, and he got confused where he was on pit road, and that's what caused him to delay. He basically missed his pit box. And who was in the pit box right behind Lundgaard? Alex Palou. So Palou couldn't even get out of his pit box because Lundgaard was in his way. So that's why Palou was all the way back in the field. I think he was at like 20th at one point, which, like I said, for Palou to finish in 8th place, great run for him to make the best out of a bad situation. Kevin Simpson in 15th ahead of Felix Rosenqvist, who he tried to gamble late on fuel. It just didn't quite work out for him. He led a couple of laps late in the going. Yeah, he led 3 laps in the race. He had some dicey battles earlier on in the race too, and he actually had to do a stop and go penalty because I think he had to do a drive-through for I think it was either pit road speeding or something else, and they didn't take the penalty soon enough, so they had to do a stop and go instead. Actually, let me see. I have that right here. It was an unsafe release, my bad. Hey, they have the penalty somewhere here on the bottom of the box score, which is what I have here. And then you got a second sheet. We'll go through that in a minute here. Colin Hurd at 17th, Callum Allott 18th. He led late in the race, tried gambling on fuel, hoping for a late yellow. Just didn't quite pan out. They tried saving fuel, but hey, he had experience leading up front, so good for Prema. You know, not a bad day overall. Nolan Siegel 19th, Stingray Robb 20th, Jacob Abel 21st, which, I mean, look, it is what it is, but hey, finishing almost every lap, no complaints, I'm pretty sure, from Jacob's camp. Graham Rahal 22nd, he was 7 laps down. I don't know what was going on with that car, because like they just did not have speed in that car for whatever reason. Devil DiFrancesco 23rd, he spun on the 4th lap of the race, hit the wall, and they basically used the rest of the race as a test session. Not really much else they could do because they were down quite a bit. They ended up finishing 43 laps down. Scott McLaughlin 24th, he had some, I think, right rear contact. I couldn't actually tell what happened. We couldn't even hear the interview in the media center. They had issues with signal during the race randomly. So Joseph Newgarden 25th, Louis Foster 26th, Will Power 27th. We'll get on Will first, and then we'll do Newgarden and Foster, that situation. Power brushed the wall lap 40. That's weird. They have I should preface this by saying they have the caution reasons flipped here, where it's like laps 4 to 9 says car 12, but that was actually Devil DiFrancesco. So they have that switched here for some reason. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. Make sure you read. It also shows Will is having 47 laps completed, which makes sense, but they just got to mix it up here for whatever reason. Anyway, Power hit the wall in turn 4. The car was crabbing immensely. He managed to drive it back to the pits. They never turned another lap in the whole race. But Louis Foster and Joseph Newgarden. So run the halfway point of the race. Louis Foster's running high in turn 4. I don't know if it was a tire failure or what, but Foster hits the wall with the right side of the car. He spins across the track and into the path of Joseph Newgarden, who was going all the way down to the inside of the racetrack on the front straightaway, hits Foster's car and the pit wall, flips upside down, and rides on the roll hoop of the car for some distance before coming to a stop. It was a really weird situation because there was, I think, 6 seconds they actually timed how long it was between Louis Foster first impacting the wall in turn 4 and then the caution coming out. So that was quite a bit of time that passed by between first contact and then what happened later on, because Foster's car and Newgarden's car collided shortly after the yellow came out. And that was just really odd why it took so long for the yellow to come out there. But Foster was okay. He got out of the car. Newgarden was okay when he got out of the car. Newgarden did not talk to TV. I don't even think he talked to the radio network either afterward. And it was just not good for him. I mean, he's won here 5 times. He hasn't had a good season so far. I mean, after all, right now he is 16th in points with 132 points. 5 points ahead of him is Rinus VeeKay, who had a really not so much of a good start to the year. But yeah, just not really too good for Joseph Newgarden. But hey, Kyle Kirkwood, going back to him, he led the important laps that counted, led 8 laps, and he's got his first ever NTT IndyCar Series oval win. So, second sheet of paper here. We have the Indy Next results as well. So, I'm not going to go through the entire field. I just want to mention that Lockie Hughes got the win. He started 5th, and he actually used the high line to go through the top 5, and he led the final 14 laps of the race to win. He won ahead of Miles Rowe, Kyle Collette, Salvador D'Alba, and Dennis Hauger. Hauger finishing 5th. He is the Indy Next points leader. That's another $1 for the swear jar for Indy Next. So he currently leads Lockie Hughes by 19 points, and Kyle Collette, I believe, is like 78 points behind in 3rd. So the title battle is tightening up a little bit in Indy Next. So anyway, next week the series heads out to Road America, and I cannot wait to get out there. It's one of my favorite races of the entire year. So take a look at frontstretch.com, Frontstretch Open Wheel, and you can see all the different video interviews I'm able to get with the drivers there. Might even try for some of the ladder system guys up there, because they're going to be running up there with the IndyCar Series as well. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and head on out for the night. This is Christopher DeHarde, and take a look at what we have over at Frontstretch Open Wheel, and enjoy.
Steven Stump of Frontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.